Hey everyone, thank you for joining me today on my channel. This is Michelle, and today I am going to be working on a layout for limited edition kit from my Creative Scrapbook. Now this is the August kit, and it is primarily Nature's Haven, which is a beautiful, beautiful line from 49 and Market. I love the really summer bounty feel to it with the strawberries and the flowers and the ginghams. And so this is the page that I am going to be using for my background. This is one of my favorites. And there's just so much in the background. I don't know that I'm going to do any mixed media, but we'll see. We'll see what happens. The other thing I could do would be like just to cut out a section and back it with white. Yeah, so a few different ideas. I'm going to be using these pictures of my daughter Julia and this cut file, which is the cut file that you receive in the kit. Now I cut mine from the store there at my Creative Scrapbook on the cut file for members section. So I'm not sure what size you're going to be getting. Since I cut mine myself, I cut it in a with the background, and I just filled, used my contour tool to fill the letters so that those weren't just an outline. This is 110-pound cardstock. And then I also cut letters out of this gingham. And so that is what I am going to use. I might do just a little bit of color, particularly on this Forever in My Heart. But it is just going to go like that. I have a T here somewhere too. So yeah, so that is my current plan. So let's see how this turns out. So I'm going to start with my cut file first, my title. And so I cover the top portion of the heart because I'm going to be doing some ink blending and I want that part to stay white. So the first top portion is going to be Tattered Rose. Then I'm going to work into Saltwater Taffy. And then I pulled out Crackling Campfire. And I will start using it, and then as soon as I put it down, I'm like, oh, that's too much of an orange red. And so I'll put that away and use Festive Berries instead. And so those are the three colors I use. I do splatter it just a little bit with water. But other than that, very quick and easy way to do a title. I went ahead and adhered all of my green letters. And now I had mentioned in the intro that I wanted to maybe do a little bit of white in between, just to break up that background pattern paper. And so I use my tearing ruler, always use my tearing ruler, but when I want it to be somewhat controlled, not willing to deal with the consequences of my own actions if I mess it up, then I do pull out my tearing ruler. I'm going to clean up the edges of it just a little bit and then uh, adhere both of these to white cardstock. And that is pretty much it in a nutshell. Pretty easy process for that. I am going to tear just a chunk out of the top left. That is what I'm doing now. So a little bit of white shows there. And then I'm going to use my fringe scissors just to cut into it a little bit more so it's easy to roll. So I roll a chunk of that, and so far so good. I'm just going to go ahead and adhere that. And then I'm going to do the same thing with the bottom, and then that little section that I just did, as far as create just a chunk with my fringe scissors that can make a little bit more of a tear, and that will give somewhere for my Y to hang and still keep it on white paper. You'll see what I mean here in a moment. So there's my forever in my, and that Y has a place all in white. And so I decided just to hang with one picture, and so I'm using this portrait of my daughter just staring straight ahead. And I went ahead and I did put one of the wood frames around that picture, and I'm going to go ahead and adhere my title because that is something I'm sure about. And I am also um, looking everywhere for my eye for my dot for my eye, and I finally just created a new one. And so now I'm matting my picture on the frame. I'm also going to put phone or fun foam behind that and mat it also with one of the red polka dot ephemera pieces that comes in the kit. And yeah, so the ivory, I love getting ivory flowers because then you can, it's much easier to change their color if you want to change their color. And so I decided to try to match the green that is in the gingham. And so it does take me it takes me a bit of a process, but I feel good with getting there in the end. So I used Lindy's Starburst Mad Hatter Mint. That is the more intense green. And then I also used the Colorings Don't Citron Me, which is the paler, more yellow green. And so they took color really well. And so I also painted just with a white acrylic paint over the top of them. And so that gave them a really um, nice, vibrant look. I also painted some of the white flowers that I'm going to use just because they were pretty sparkly and I wanted some sparkle, but not a ton of sparkle. And so, so yeah. So there is my picture with the red polka dot. I also added a little file tab over the picture and then a little polka dot banner piece underneath. And that is also going to get this remember sentiment. I have also added that frame, that red polka dot frame, and built a little scene in that with a couple of birds, a stump, some books, and then the simple life sentiment. Um, I am now working on the upper portion of the layout, which is um, this banner piece. So I have some fun foam under a couple of the little swags there. Going to use this half doily piece that comes in the kit. I wanted just one more layer on top of it, so I'm using one of the file tab folder pieces, and then New Beginnings is the word phrase that goes above that. I've added a couple flowers, the green and the red. I'm going to add, oh, I tried with the fox, but then I thankfully didn't use it because I have them on another layout that I absolutely love how that turned out. So I'm going to go ahead and adhere some of this down and let me see. I'm going to add a couple little elements on top of that doily. Um, oh, so I have a couple of the white flowers that I remembered I needed to add in now that they have dried. And so one above and then one below by that um, uh, slide frame. And yeah, so I um, add that little round fox medallion. I'm going to add that frog up above. So many cute little critters in this collection, that is for sure. And then I also added two strawberries next to that frog. All right, so um, I decided to add one more little bird, so it looks like I guess I like critters having conversations on my layouts because these two look like they're having a conversation. I'm going to add some of the ladybugs to some of the flowers. And then I am also thinking about what I want to do to fill in those white flowers. So those white flowers, I just peeled uh, the sparkly ivory flower that comes in the kit. I pulled some of apart. That's how I got multiple white flat flowers. And so they're just layers of the ones that come in the kit. And so I do have some little yellow tiny flowers in my stash. And so I decided to use those as centers, and then I just put a little dot of a yellow Nova or Nuvo yellow drops in the center of those. So I'm getting somewhat close to the end. I'm going to do I believe, a few little black splatters, and maybe a few little white splatters. But other than that, this layout is complete. So thank you for joining me. Let me know if you have any questions about the kits or about the process. But my Creator Scrapbook has numerous kits depending on your interest and your style. So check them out. The link is in the notes or the description, I should say. Thank you for your comments or for liking or for subscribing. I truly appreciate it. Have a great day.